When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish.
The podcast that will probably piss on you if you ask nicely. Very nicely.
Okay, yeah. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
We're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality, and today
we're going to talk about misogyny.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be good. It's going to be an enjoyable, uplifting episode, surely.
No one's going to leave feeling bad about themselves.
Themselves or the institutions of which they are part of.
Or the culture.
Or anything.
Yep.
But first. I have some feedback.
Oh, no.
No, it's fine.
Oh.
On our episode about blacksmiths, I talked about The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
We got this feedback from a couple people. The episode that I brought, the segment that I brought was Homer being homophobic and worried about Bart being gay.
Yeah.
Danny on our Facebook commented, "I love this episode because it taught me new things." Thanks. That's good. I do want to say that the
of our show.
Of our show.
Not the Simpsons.
I loved The Simpsons, just so you know. No, our episode. I do want to say that the reference about The Simpsons episode wasn't homophobic. I grew up watching that show, and my best friend is a huge fan of the early seasons. That episode features John Waters and is supposed to be an episode about tolerance. Homer, like any parent, was scared at first that Bart was gay, but Homer realized by multiple interactions in the episode that he shouldn't be afraid. It came out in the 90s and was pretty open about accepting homosexuality for its time. So don't judge a TV show episode by one scene.
Well, okay. I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
I don't know. This comes up from time to time on the show or just in like conversation with friends or whatever. I don't know how much like for its time should forgive things. You know what I mean?
That's weird. I would have thought you would have thought the opposite.
My instinct is to like love my grandparents even though they were racist, you know, as a product of their time or whatever. Same thing with like TV shows or other cultural phenomenon. It's this like desire to I don't know. It's sort of corollary to that is like it's okay to like Harry Potter because you started liking it before you knew that she was a horrible person.
Yeah.
And, anyway,
you like it in a way that doesn't give her money.
Well, yeah, but yeah. All I'm saying is I'm trying to be more sensitive to like sometimes it's okay to not forgive things just because they happened a long time ago.
Yeah. But this was like, we weren't seeing the full context of the episode. So the episode was actually about tolerance. So it was intentionally Homer was being homophobic to demonstrate character growth by the end.
Yeah.
So we missed that part of the episode and just thought it was a random homophobic thing they did.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, we got that from a few people, so thank you for the comments on that.
You know what, Kyle?
What?
It's announcement time.
What announcement?
Well, so I didn't know when the right time to do this was, so we're going to do it now.
Now, why not?
The 2024 Dickbag Fuckface Asshole Award. Are you going to keep going? Is going to be Kyle shortly. Is President-elect Donald J. Trump.
Yay! Oh, congratulations. You did it. You won another thing.
It could not have happened to a more dickbaggy, fuckfacery, asshole-ish dickbag fuckface asshole.
Yeah, very deserving.
Also, I think it's important that we give it to him now while we still can. While free speech is still a thing that we can enjoy. Fuck that guy, fuck everything he stands for, and fuck everyone who voted for him.
Yeah.
Great.
Now the news. Shut your mouth hole. It's time for your ear holes. News.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
News the first, Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is super interesting. But speaking of President-elect Donald J. Trump, he has selected for Treasury Secretary a gay Republican.
They do exist.
They do exist, and some of them are willing to work for him. His name is Scott Bessent, or Bessent, Bessent. Bessent or Bessent, Derek? Bessent. Okay. You heard it here. If I'm wrong, it's Derek's fault now. So he is according to the New York Times, quote, he's a capitalist with a soft spot for royalty, a deep-rooted Southerner with a fondness for stylish New York locales, a gay man married with children who has embraced a Republican Party that has sometimes vilified elements and individuals of the LGBTQ movement.
Yeah, sometimes their entire platform is like, we're going to make it illegal for you to get married.
Yep. Sure.
And not to mention the attacks on trans people, of which he is a part of. They are a part of our community, so I guess he doesn't give a shit about that.
The thing is, you don't have to be a transphobe if you're a Republican. You don't have to be a homophobe if you're a Republican, but you do have to be okay with those things being a thing that the thing that you belong to believes in.
Yeah. Stated goal of their organization. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like the whole thing about like, you might not be in the KKK, but guess who the KKK votes for?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you don't have to be racist to vote for Donald Trump. You have to be cool with a lot of racists, though.
Yep, true story. Anyway, okay, so he would be fifth in line for the presidency.
Wow.
Which the Republicans, of course. Here's the thing. Fuck this guy. He's a fucking weirdo, and comes from. He's a billionaire. We're slipping into oligarchy more and more every single day,
for sure.
But he's not always been a Republican. He was a Democrat who worked for George Soros, of all people, as a hedge fund person, and that's how he made his billions and billions of dollars. Here's the thing. There's a lot of Republicans who now want to be like, see, he loves gay people.
Yeah.
Or they're fond of pointing out that Treasury Secretary is higher than Transportation Secretary. So Trump is giving the keys to somebody even a higher level of office than Pete Buttigieg. Isn't the Republican Party progressive? They're not. Fuck you.
Yeah, no. Your actual policies determine how I'm going to judge you, not based on appointing one dude.
Yep. Other Republicans are saying things like, quote, Bessent is a homosexual hedge fund manager who worked for George Soros for 10 years. Swamp remains undefeated.
Sure.
Which I don't know if you're going to say that Donald Trump is going to drain the swamp and then is directly responsible for a swamp person, how you get around the cognitive dissonance to believe all of that at the same time. I don't know. Anyway, I'm interested to see what happens here. He is a kind of an interesting dude, but I think deeply, deeply flawed for all of the reasons that are clear when you think about it.
Yeah. When you briefly think about it. Yeah.
Okay. News the second.
Yeah.
So this just, I don't know, Kyle.
What?
Well, okay. So Victor Willis, who was the cop in the Village People, went on a tirade here last week or a couple of weeks ago, saying, quote, there's been a lot of talk, especially of late, that YMCA is somehow a gay anthem. As I've said numerous times in the past, that is a false assumption based on the fact that my writing partner was gay and some, not all, of the Village People were gay, and that the first Village People album was totally about gay life. Get your minds out of the gutter. He also has supported Donald Trump quite vocally. And so, did he know he was in the Village People?
I think he missed that part where he was part of the group that did this.
And also, you don't get to decide what a gay anthem is.
That's what I was
going
to say. It's out of your hands, unfortunately. You release a song into the world, and then other people will decide if they play the gay clubs or if it's a gay song.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's just funny. So David Hodo, who was the construction worker for 30 years over 2 different stints, released a statement responding to Willis's assertion. And he says that Jacques Morali, who co-wrote the song with Willis for YMCA, and he was gay. He died in 1991 of AIDS-related complications. But he said, quote, "Just to be clear, there would be no YMCA song without Jacques Morali. He came up with the hook, as he did with all the VP music, after Randy Jones took him to a YMCA and introduced him to several gay adult film stars who worked out there." Like, it's because he had a grand old time with a bunch of gay porn actors that he wrote that song.
It was pretty gay.
It was... just gay. It's just gay. It's just gay. And if you didn't know that, Mr. Willis, what you talking about?
And to get this defensive this late in the game about that song, like you're so late to try to defend this music.
Well, and it's because Donald Trump was using it at rallies.
Yeah.
And people were like making fun of the fact that it's a gay anthem. Do you know, like, it's a gay anthem? Are you unaware?
Yeah.
While you're doing your jerk off 2 dudes at the same time dance to the YMCA song.
It does look like that.
It is gay.
Very gay. Yeah.
Anyway, also, the YMCA was known as a gay hookup spot in San Francisco at the time. It was brimming with Navy men returning from World War II. That's why they have a song called "In the Navy." Also, apparently the YMCA has been advertising its services with homoerotic imagery dating back to the 1880s.
Really?
So, like, come hang out here. We have shirtless, sweaty dudes has been like part of their bread and butter for marketing since, again, the 1880s.
Wow.
Anyway, it's super S gay, and this guy is just a clown and in denial.
Yeah. Republicans.
Yeah. Sorry that's so loud, everybody. Oh my God, Kyle.
What?
Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Mike.
We're live and in person.
We're not live.
It's been
You and I are alive.
It's been a minute. Life is live, Kyle.
Life is happening live. That's true. Yeah, we're in person. We've been recording remote because you moved into a new place. We're in a new studio spot.
Yeah, it's not decorated yet. Some of you are going to see some of this on video later, but we're getting there.
Yeah,
it's an accomplishment just to be here,
just to be alive.
Yeah, but that does mean new noises to learn about and care about and try to mitigate. And that's a loud furnace that's now loud in here.
Do you think you can hear it?
Yeah. Let us know, everybody.
Yeah.
YMCA is gay. Okay. News the last.
Wait.
What? Wait.
No, I said great and right at the same time, and it came out weird.
Okay. No, I'm glad. It's like when you...
Thanks for stopping on that and calling it out.
Have fun editing this one, Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay, so news the third. Prattville, Alabama was hosting its Christmas parade, and one of the entrants, by the way, Prattville, Alabama is a city of about 40,000 people. One of the groups that applied to have a float in the parade was Prattville Pride.
Oh.
And it was the day before the parade that the city of Prattville, Alabama, notified them that they would not be allowed to march. Now, Mayor Bill Gillespie Jr. announced Thursday morning the group was banned from the parade, citing serious safety concerns.
Oh.
It's because the people might freak out and get violent.
Yeah. That's like the gay panic defense, but for parades.
Right, exactly. So, Prattville Pride has a good lawyer named Julia Phillips who prepared a federal...
You said a weird word now.
Yeah, I did. prepared a federal discrimination lawsuit against the town.
Yeah.
And the very next morning, U.S. District Judge R. Austin Huffaker Jr. ruled that the city had violated the group's First Amendment right to free speech, as well as its 14th Amendment right to equal protection under the law. Quote, the city removed Prattville Pride...
We got this.
Fuck. The city removed Prattville Pride from the parade based on its belief that certain members of the public who oppose Prattville Pride and what it stands for would react in a disruptive way, but discrimination based on a message's content cannot be tolerated under the First Amendment. And although some community members voiced vehement opposition to the group's participation, the city has presented no evidence of legitimate true threats of physical violence.
Yeah.
Safety concerns.
You can't just make up. That's the most, like, they were trying to discriminate in a PC way, but it don't work like that.
The judge also said if you were really worried about it, you have 2 extra police officers that could probably handle it, or like they can handle it, right?
Yeah.
So he ordered that 2 police officers escort the float during the parade. Yeah. So that's the thing. So the group said, quote, this is why Prattville Pride exists, to ensure that LGBTQ plus individuals feel safe, seen, and supported. Our participation in the Christmas parade is more than just a celebration. It is a statement of belonging and a reminder that love and acceptance are integral to the fabric of our community.
That's beautiful. And yeah, especially in smaller cities, like, it's important to have visibility, to show that you're not the only one here. You may be growing up in a shitty homophobic family and need some kind of community or way to know that you're okay.
And this is one example where, thank goodness, you have to actually demonstrate that the threat that you're claiming exists before you can take steps. Trans bathroom bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, fucking goddamn, Kyle.
Yeah.
There's no actual threat from trans people. It's all invented.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit.
Yeah. It's not a real thing that happens.
Great. I'm angry.
Yeah.
That's the news.
Speaking of things that celebrate love and acceptance, I want to thank the following new Patreon members for loving and accepting our Patreon. Thank you to Laughing Penguin.
Oh, that sounds like it's made up name.
No given name, Christian name.
Mr. Penguin.
Well, it's all one word, so it is Mr. Laughing Penguin.
Oh, we don't know their first name.
We don't know their first name. And thank you to Daniel.
Do penguins laugh? Hold on, I'm not done yet. Maybe it's Daniel Laughing Penguin.
Maybe it's Daniel Laughing Penguin, comma Daniel. That's true. It might be. Thank you, Daniel Laughing Penguin.
Do laughing penguins? Do penguins laugh?
Maybe when you tickle them.
Okay, great. Let's go tickle a penguin.
Let's go tickle a penguin together. Everyone, tonight, go to your local zoo and tickle a penguin.
Yep.
Thank you to Patreon for supporting us and the show. We appreciate it. If you want ad-free episodes a day early, if you want bonus episodes and segments, then go to patreon.com/gayish podcast.
Hey. Apparently you can gift Patreon subscriptions, so you can give that special person in your life our special bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. If you are dating someone you know likes the show, or your mom hasn't heard the show, or you have a friend who might like the show, then give them a Patreon subscription.
Yep. You can do it on an annual basis, and you can stuff their stocking.
Mm-hmm. Stuff is so full.
Great.
All right. Do you want to talk about misogyny?
I mean, who doesn't?
The uplifting topic of misogyny. This was requested by Derek's sister-in-law. So thank you, Derek, for encouraging us to do this. This was requested by Dylan Hansen.
Yeah, I know that bitch.
Yep. And this was requested by She's a Dog.
Also, I know that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So thank you. So multiple people wanted us to talk about misogyny.
Yep. Blame them.
Blame them, not us. We're just the conduits of your requests.
We have no agency here.
Nope. We just do what you tell us to. Like a good sex doll. Why? What's the is there a point to us doing misogyny? Surely there's is there a thesis statement we have for?
Well, first, there's an entire chapter in this really great book I wrote with you.
About misogyny?
About misogyny in one aspect, and that's the Gold Star Gay thing. So I'm not going to talk about the Gold Star Gay thing today, but It's not funny anymore. Stop it. It's
We had
just
an entire
misogyny.
we had an entire episode on Gold Star Gay.
Oh well, see,
so go listen to that.
it's still correct.
We're still right. We stand by our words.
But at the end of the day, like misogyny is a huge problem in Christian society, especially. I'm going to talk about Christians and Muslims in a little bit, but gay men are sort of the benefactors of that toxic bullshit that they're raised in. And you add like a little dash of shame and a little sprinkle of societal hatred, and you end up with some pretty virulent misogynistic behavior from gay men as a species.
Yeah.
And that's why it's worth talking about.
And I think just because you have one minority status does not mean you understand every minority's issues. Like, hopefully there's a level of empathy that you can bring to things because you are part of a discriminated group, but that doesn't automatically mean you get a pass on things like misogyny or racism.
Yeah.
And I think some people think they do. They're like, well, I can't be misogynistic, I'm gay.
Right.
And that's not true.
That's very not true.
Yeah.
Well, this is the history of misogyny.
You can't get sick of it in the middle of saying it.
Yeah, I can.
I know.
I can.
Misogyny started when Adam and Eve were, I don't know.
Wait, are you reading my notes?
Really?
Yeah. I want to talk about Christianity and why Christians and the Bible are absolute fucking the horrible worst pushers, endorsers, purveyors. Thank you, Kyle. God bless you.
I'm a writer.
Purveyors of misogyny and misogynistic culture.
Yeah. Well, Eve is just a rib.
Allegedly. There's like anybody who's like the Bible is literally true has never fucking read the first page of the Bible. There's 2 creation stories that don't match up right in a row. They can't both be true. They just can't. Anyway. Okay. Language. I wanted to talk about language.
Okay.
Because the whole thing is people need to understand misogyny by breaking it down into its Greek roots, I think, and then understanding the way that those roots are used for other words that like it just makes it make sense. The landscape makes sense after you start like picking it apart a little bit. So miso, M-I-S-O, is a prefix from the Greek
soup.
That means it is a soup, but that's Japanese. So misogyny is based on miso or miso, which just means hatred. And there's several flavors that are worth knowing. And then gyne, gyne, meaning woman. Now, other kinds of misogyny, or not misogyny, but miso something. A lot of people think misanthropy, to be a misanthrope, is to hate men, and that is incorrect. Although anthropo means men, it means men more in the gender neutral sense of mankind. So to be a misanthrope means to hate people.
Right.
To hate men is misandry, and like andro. You might know of andro as like androgens are things like testosterone and other masculinizing hormones, or androstenedione has andro in it, but andro means
Androsin Cooper.
Androsin Cooper, absolutely. That's all about men, like not just mankind, but men specifically. So actually, when you say androgynous, that's the combination of those 2 suffixes. So andro meaning man, gynous, gyno, misogyny, women. So androgyny just means man-womany. But a combination of the 2.
Yeah. Interesting.
Something in between. Polygamy is to be married to more than one woman at the same time, which people mistake that sometimes with polygamy, Gamy, which that's just to be married to more than one person regardless of gender. Okay, so misogyny as a concept, as a word, got popularized in the 1970s. It did exist in the language. There are examples since the 1600s, or 1500s, sorry, 16th century, of misogyny being used in the English language. But it really was the 1970s that made it a word that was like an everyday word that people were using as an offshoot of feminism. And it's funny because the same time we see the rise of the man-hating dyke as a thing that people believed or would say as a backlash to the creation of the word or the concept, right? Like it's this this whole thing about like to be a feminist is bad somehow because it means that you hate men.
Right.
And that's not true and has never been true. That's one of the persistent myths about feminism. But as feminism gets bigger in the 60s and 70s, that's when this idea of misogyny gets talked about, and then like, well, they must hate men is the reaction.
Got to find ways to demonize people that want equality and progressive people. I think because change is hard, and so you got to try to look for something bad in it to, I don't know, help soothe yourself or help explain why you're misogynistic or something. I don't know. Yep.
Yeah. And there's also like the whole thing that like white people hate being called racist more than they hate racism.
Yeah.
I think the same thing here, that like people who are part of the patriarchy, which men don't have a monopoly on patriarchy or patriarchal behavior. Women are totally capable of buying into it themselves too. Men are more the problem. But like women can police each other's sexual behavior and bodies and forms of dress and choice of career just as much as men can. But again, men are the problem for the most part. But people, I think, hate being called a misogynist more than they hate misogyny, which is just, humans are weird, man. So I did want to talk about this note from, this is from the Wikipedia article, actually, that anthropologist David D. Gilmore argues that misogyny is rooted in men's conflicting feelings, men's existential dependence on women for procreation, and men's fear of women's power over them in their times of male weakness, contrasted against the deep-seated needs of men for the love, care, and comfort of women, a need that makes the men feel vulnerable.
Ooh, and men don't like being vulnerable.
That's the stereotype.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Including gay men, some would say. I don't know. What do you think?
I think we're better at, because we break out of the stereotype of men, we're able to show emotions and therefore vulnerability a little bit better. I think we're more societally permitted to. I think you see a straight dude that is vulnerable or cries or whatever, and there's a lot of judgment, but a gay man, you're like, understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think, I don't know if I agree totally. I think that I think the mask for mask toxic gay male culture is just as broken emotionally as straight dudes are or can be. Like, I agree with you in general that there are a lot of gay men who have that experience that you just outlined, but I don't know that it's universal. Like, it still feels like there's a bunch of dudes who are dudes first and gay second and have all of the trappings of the horse shit that comes with being a dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so here's the thing. Eve ruined everything. You already talked about Eve, like briefly, but both for Judaism and for Christianity, but Christianity takes it to a next level. The hatred of women starts with Eve ruining everything. So in the Garden of Eden, they're naked and running around and blissfully happy, and the snake convinces Eve to eat of the fruit of knowledge from the apple. And Eve totally tricks Adam into eating this apple with her. And that's when they notice that they are naked and they hide their bodies in shame. And that's the original sin. And everything's downhill from there. But it's her fault. It's the woman's fault that everything in the entire universe is fucked up. We're kicked out of the Garden of Eden, paradise, because of a woman's behavior.
Yeah.
And it includes all of this like symbolism around women are colluding with the devil, the snake. Women are deceptive and are manipulative. She like totally like gets Adam to eat this apple because she's conniving. And this sort of like blame for the fall of mankind getting pinned on her because she's the woman is like, I don't know how you get any more powerful than that in terms of like the entire fucking religion starts with that on the page 1 of the book they're supposed to be drawing all of their religion from.
Yeah. And if you believe that literally that women is your downfall, that's hard not to let that seep into the rest of your life and behavior.
Absolutely.
If you've been like raised believing that.
Yeah. And like I was raised in a Christian tradition. I mean, you were too, but like I actually like had some church stuff.
I didn't go to church.
Okay. So I want to bring it to the gay stuff though, because
okay.
I do think that this is where, the road from misogyny to homophobia is very short.
Yeah, for sure.
So Christianity also has this go forth and multiply thing, right? God said, go forth and multiply. And that does require sperm and eggs, right? And traditionally that happens biologically between a cis man and a cis woman, right? The woman then is supposed to bear the children, and it's an oppressive arrangement because it implies that she has no agency in the matter. It doesn't matter that it's her body. God said your job is to have kids. That's her role. Having these babies it's not up to you. It's what God wants.
Yeah.
And it really also then sets up homophobia in a way, right? Like if your job is to procreate, if God says this is your job, and gay sex, they're very fond of pointing out all the time, Kyle, gay sex does not result in offspring.
Thank God.
So you're wasting jizz.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're wasting the jizz.
My God, I waste so much jizz. I wouldn't call it a waste, but that's me.
And
waste. That's what my new line is going to be like. Waste your jizz on me.
Waste your jizz. You're a jizz wastebasket.
I'm a jizz receptacle.
And so it creates this mind fuck also, I think, that, well, if God said your job is to procreate and to sin is to go against God, then to be sinful, you can't just be born that way. It must be a choice. God has put you in a position to decide whether to comply or not. So you can't be any other way. You are just being obstinate. And so that feeds into being gay as a choice, being gay as a sin, and all of that is wrapped up in this same just procreation is the thing. That's why we get to subjugate women. That's why we get to treat women the way that we do. And that's why gays are bad and evil. And it's all, again, right there in the very beginning of their supposedly super great book.
Yeah. It's the Bible. Super great. I like that way to describe it.
Now, I have been picking on Christians, and rightly so. And Islam goes even further, arguably, right?
What do they say? I know about Christianity. I don't know about Islam.
Well, here's just one example. So, okay, well, hold on. So Islam has the whole thing. Muslims are supposed to cover themselves, and their women are supposed to be even more covered. In some Muslim traditions, that means like everything but your eyes needs to be shielded when you're not at home. Not allowed to go in public without a male escort, and can't own property, can't get an education, can't have your own money. Like just extreme versions of this, like men run shit and women get nothing. That Christians are capable of, but again, just like Islam can take it to another level. I want to talk briefly about this part in the Quran, though. So An-Nisa is one of the books of the Quran, and that just means woman. And it talks about like what a woman is supposed to do and how they're supposed to behave. And An-Nisa 34, 434, sorry, is the 34th verse in the 4th chapter of the Quran. And there's a translation that says, quote, "Men are the protectors and maintainers of women because Allah has given the one more strength than the other.
Wow.
And because they support them from their means. Therefore, the righteous women are devoutly obedient and guard in the husband's absence what Allah would have them guard." Talk about their pussies.
Oh, guard your pussy, everybody.
"As to those women on whose part ye fear disloyalty and ill conduct." So if you're worried that your woman is going to like act out, admonish them first. So yell at them. Next, refuse to share their beds.
Don't fuck them.
And last, beat them.
Yikes.
Lightly.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as it's lightly. I mean, I like a light beating.
"But if they return to obedience, seek not against them means of annoyance, for Allah is most high, great above you all." It says in no uncertain terms that, like, keep your woman in line by beating her if necessary.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, it's not, because religion is really fucked up and says some fucked up things, so it makes sense, but still, I mean, yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. This is tricky because as a good liberal, I'm supposed to like be down with all different religions, and I've reached this like militant atheist part of life that you and Sarah were talking about in my absence when I was in Japan. Of like, I hate them all.
Yeah,
I hate them all equally, and I'm super not down with any of it because I think it's all bad.
Yeah,
maybe I'll mitigate that later, but I don't want to give Islam a pass because I'm supposed to be a multiculturalist or whatever.
Right.
I think it's bad. I think that the things that they do to women are bad, and I'm okay saying that.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I get the like fear. I think the fear, especially when it's brought into the US, ends up being racism through a different lens, like trying to you reach the end product of racism through a different, so that's where you got to watch out for discriminating against religions that are not Christianity.
Right.
But as a rule, to dislike it, I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't care that you're brown. I just think your God is dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone's God, for that matter. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, we can roll into the next thing, but thanks, religion, for fucking everything up.
God, yeah. And I mean, the amount of people that are trained through religion that are grow up with these lessons being taught to them. Misogyny is institutionalized in that way. That's one of the many ways that it's just kind of how we live our lives, is through this lens of misogyny. Yep,
absolutely. I think, okay, I think the whole rape culture thing is absolutely an extension of exactly this. The whole, like, she got raped, well, what was she wearing? Like, the implication is that it's the woman's job to control the sexual urges and behavior of men. All of that is just wild that we accept it.
Yeah.
And there are lots of men and women who fully believe that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go
ahead. Well, Another way that we kind of train ourselves in misogyny is through Urban Dictionary. I'm going to tell you a little bit about...
Speaking of misogyny, I mean, some of the, like, look up Portuguese breakfast. That's like misogyny. All of those random sex positions that you can find in Urban Dictionary, usually there's a substantial, like an entire cup of misogyny included in them.
What's a Portuguese breakfast?
It's where you scramble eggs in her vagina.
What?
Or something.
Is it that warm? Is it like a skillet down there? I didn't know it could heat up my eggs. I guess it technically keeps eggs warm. Anyway, okay, I'm going to read a couple definitions. The first one is feminism. This is the top definition for feminism.
I'm so worried, Kyle. Oh my God.
Feminism is a word that means equal rights for women. Okay. We're good so far.
Great. Okay.
Technically, most feminists should actually be called humanists. I'll ignore that since it was, and to some extent still is, an important movement. Way back in the day, life was pretty damn bad for women everywhere. No vote, no driving. You know about that stuff anyway. Eventually, much of the inequality disappeared thanks to the hard work of early feminism. Sadly, some still persist to this day. Fortunately, most people accept that such social changes are bound to be gradual and eventually true equality will exist. This is the type of world that everyone should strive to live in, not just feminists. But alas, in more recent times, there's been a growing movement of militant feminism. This is alternatively known as female chauvinism and feminazism. These people often demand more rights than men have, usually by arguing that they are superior to men and blame men for everything. Yes, men started wars. Are you saying that women wouldn't have? Hillary Clinton supported the Iraq War. Margaret Thatcher sent troops to the Falklands. To propagate such a view on man is sexist view, you chauvinist pig bitch. Such a view is not part of feminism, or at least its original usage of the word. These people are betraying the women who fought for their rights. Possibly the worst part about them is that they are either the prevalent female authors and commentators for feminism on Urban Dictionary, or that these women are denying the existence of female sexism has taken seed among the feminist movement. I've talked to these people in real life, not on the net. They do exist.
No, they don't, and you haven't. Like... Or don't beg the exception.
Yeah.
Right? This is like this motherfucker who's going to be the Treasury Secretary for Trump does not mean that he's suddenly pro-gay because he has a gay.
Yeah.
Like you can't listen to that Owens bitch. What's
Candace Owens?
Candace Owens and say that like this is how black people feel.
Yeah. For sure.
It's no.
Yeah.
That is not what feminism is. Feminazis as defined there do not exist, at least not in numbers that are worth giving a fuck about.
Yeah.
Like it is an invention meant to make the true feminist movement look ridiculous.
Right.
So that then you can not actually have to think about any of it.
Yeah, exactly. You get to discount the entire feminist movement because of this subgroup that you claim exists that you believe is actually fighting for more rights than men get, which is
so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
The number of people too that think about gay rights as being like they want special rights, they want more rights than us. What, like, it's straight people already have all the rights. What more rights do you think we could be going for?
They think that because we get a month that they should get a month too, and it's like you have all the months.
Yeah.
Another definition I'm going to tell you about is sex.
Great.
When you shove your dick into a lava lamp because you're lonely as fuck.
Wait, what?
I don't know. That's the top definition for sex. But what's important there is the assumption, your dick, the assumption that you have a penis.
Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty prevalent. So I'm going to tell you a study that they did on Urban Dictionary called Neologizing Misogyny. Urban Dictionary's folksonomies of sexual abuse.
Okay. Yeah. This is what I was a little bit talking about. Like
what?
Just Urban Dictionary really is like there's a cup of misogyny in all of these like fun or funny sexual positions that get fun labels. It's fucking misogyny. It's like there's a lot of toxic masculinity wrapped up in like total objectification of the woman in the scenario in order to accomplish your like funny thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, this study actually like reviewed and classified and identified what the level of misogyny was on Urban Dictionary.
Great.
This came out in 2019, published in New Media and Society, a peer-reviewed academic journal.
Wait, is that right in the name? Because I feel like if it's right there in the name, it shouldn't.
I looked that up.
Okay.
That was me adding that
Okay.
it is a peer-reviewed journal.
Great.
Because I did a search, because now I do that.
Mm-hmm.
By Debbie Ging, Theodore Lynn, and Pierangelo Rosati. So first, just some facts about Urban Dictionary. It's founded in 1999 by American college student Aaron Peckham. The web analytics company Quantcast ranked it as the 22nd most visited site in the U.S. It gets 34 million visitors per month.
Wow.
I didn't realize how big that it was the 22nd most visited site.
And also, like, does that person still own it? Like, I hope they're
don't
getting
know.
a lot of money.
They probably the advertising, yeah. And 45% of the site's users are 18 to 24.
Well, yeah. Still?
Probably.
I mean, I was 18 to 24 in 1999. So.
Yeah. No, so they did this research in 2019. So all this data is from as of 2019.
Okay.
Let's see. As of 2014, there are more than 7 million definitions on the site, and it is estimated that 2,000 definitions are added daily. Oftentimes Urban Dictionary shows up in Google results when you search for keywords. Like when I searched for spit roast, it was the #1 result. So it is often the way we are defining some words, not just going to Urban Dictionary and finding it, but it's what defines them on Google as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So what they did is these researchers analyzed the definitions using machine learning. They found that almost 250,000 definitions featured misogynistic content, which constitutes 9.53% of the entire Urban Dictionary data set. So about 1 in 10 definitions are misogynistic. A majority of the creators of the definitions are male. You can infer this, like I talked about, the assumption that you have a penis or that the reader has a penis by saying something like your dick or whatever. You can assume that, or the poster specifically speaks on behalf of men.
That feels true. That feels correct. That like Urban Dictionary is super broy, fratty even. Yeah. Is the feeling. I have similar feelings about Reddit that I don't know if are true or not. But
it definitely has. This research study called it the manosphere, and it included Urban Dictionary. It was like it's part of this. There's like 4chan and certain subreddits that are like the men's corner of the internet. And this definitely ranks amongst them given how misogynistic and from the male perspective it is. Let's see definitions. So it's not just definitions of weird, Portuguese breakfast that it's defining. It's also just defining words
rusty
like
trombone.
Yeah. What's that again?
I think that's kind of a gay thing, actually.
Oh,
yeah. It's eating a guy's ass while you jerk him off. Like a trombone.
That's hilarious. I like that one.
Okay, great.
So the definitions that attract the most thumbs up or down are just words like I talked about, feminism or sex. They're just regular words that are being redefined in Urban Dictionary. And most of those are redefined, discredited, or mocked to suit specific ideological agendas such as anti-feminist or misogynist agendas. Hey, that's the title of the episode. For example, many of the definitions of the words such as gender, woman, feminism, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and vagina are heavily infected with misogynist, anti-feminist, or homophobic sentiment.
Yep.
So these researchers claim that Urban Dictionary is a site of online conflict in the gender wars and contributing to that through these types of definitions that they allow. A couple things that they said, quote, the technological affordances of this platform, namely its structure as a network of folksonomies as opposed to a curated collaborative dictionary. Other dictionaries like go out and do research and identify definitions and do that through a process, a team of people.
This is full on crowdsourcing.
Yeah. And you have editors that can accept or reject a definition. So you have certain people that are deciding what actually makes it. Anyway, to continue the quote.
But also, Urban Dictionary, to my knowledge, has always painted itself as a vehicle for entertainment, not for being a, like, you're not supposed to actually use it as a dictionary.
I think in effect it's being used as a dictionary, because when you want to know what a weird ass word means, I go to Urban Dictionary to define it.
Yeah.
What thing does that guy want me to do to him? Let's look that up and see if I know how.
Eat his ass while you jerk him off. That's it.
Yep. Ew, I just got the rust part.
Womp womp.
To continue the quote, have enabled the manosphere's toxic misogyny and percolates into mainstream culture, which completely agree that people use Urban Dictionary to help define these words in a day-to-day life in a way that they do a dictionary. And it's not just an entertainment site. And another site quote that I wrote down is, they have significant currency in the digital capitalist marketplace, exerting substantial impact not only in the process of lexicalization, but potentially also on young men's perception of women and on women's perception of themselves. So if young people especially are using these definitions, and odds are you'll find a misogynistic one when looking it up, then that tints your view of women and your behaviors.
Yeah.
So
I want to keep harping on this this thing of, like, women are such the victims of patriarchy, so much so that they can believe it themselves.
Yeah.
And that's wild to me. Like, the number of women in my life that are like my mom's age and older, who, like, still they can't help themselves believe that they exist like a 50s housewife life should, or like that's the value that they bring, or like what they're capable of. Like, it's wild to me the number of women that, like, don't think they can drive because that's what they were told, and they're, like, actually really good at it, or better than, like, a lot of men are, because they're more observant and patient. That's just one example, but, like, it's insane to me the number of things that women can believe about themselves because of all of this horse shit.
Yeah, it's hard not to buy into, like, if the systems are misogynistic and you grow up within the system, even if you are a woman, it's hard not to grow up believing some of these things are true.
Yeah.
And just being like, it's not even something you believe. It's just like how you were shaped.
Yeah.
Is through this lens.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember my grandmother feeling naughty or, like, subversive because she wore pants.
Wow. God, that's wild.
Yeah, she's dead now.
Okay. She's not wearing pants no more.
No. What was she buried in? I don't think she was buried in pants. Mom's mom wore pants all the time. She's like, fuck it. Dad's mom?
Yeah. No.
She wore secret pants. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, The Advocate wrote an article called 15 Signs You're a Gay Misogynist.
Cool.
This is from 2016, so it's been around for a while, but I wanted to talk about these 15 signs you're a gay misogynist.
Okay. Yeah, and I think gays need to listen up because, like I said, a lot of them assume that they can't be misogynistic because they belong to one oppressed group of people, and it doesn't work like that.
Yep. Well, I'll read the intro here. I'm not going to read all of the text for all of these. I think we'll get the gist enough that we can talk about them ourselves. But here's the intro to the article. Gay men tend to enjoy talking about cock.
This is true so far.
In our gyms and barbershops and health food stores, we gab about penises. It's like talking about the weather. We scroll through cock pics on our smartphones. Dick innuendos linger at the end of every double entendre and witty comeback, but when we hear vagina, the word is nearly always the butt of a joke, one made at the expense of women. Mm-hmm. It's time to face a blunt fact. This is the systematic oppression of women, an injustice we contribute to every time we call women bitches and think it's okay because we're gay. On the eve of a political administration that is decidedly anti-women, this is right before Trump took office the first time.
Oh, boy.
On the eve of a political administration that is decidedly anti-women, with a president-elect who has freely bragged about sexual assault, we can no longer sit idly by and allow this behavior among gay men to continue. Browse these 15 signs that you might be part of the problem. Number 1, your Grindr profile says mask for mask.
Yeah. Do people still do that? Do you still see that?
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
I
haven't seen that a bit.
I see it more when I travel.
Oh.
To parts of the world that are less, I guess, progressive or than the West Coast.
Yeah, I guess maybe less likely to show up in Seattle Grindr profiles. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just misogynistic if you really think about it, even for a second.
Yeah. Yeah, because misogyny, like, it's anything with feminine qualities, which then you translate over to men who have any kind of feminine qualities that you then judge or dislike. It has misogynistic roots in it.
Yep. Number 2, your Grindr profile says no blacks, no Asians, etc. Now, I will read part of this one. What does this have to do with women? Let me walk you through it. Blanket refusals to a certain demographic of gay men, black, Asian, pause, kinky, indicate that you're the sort of person who refuses to see people beyond their membership in said demographic.
Oh, very true.
It's very, very true. Here's the thing. My advice on Grindr in general, stop saying what you don't want. Mm-hmm. Just stop. You don't have to be into everything. That's not what I'm saying. Just like... are hordes of people that you're not into reaching out to you, and it's just so fucking traumatic and difficult for your life that you need to prevent them from talking to you in the first place. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I saw someone's profile that said, did you know that instead of creating long lists of things you don't want, you could just not reply to people?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't reply to them.
Anyways, so you stop seeing people as labels behind which you stop seeing their humanity. And this article says this is how misogyny thrives. When we tell ourselves that everyone who is female or everyone is femme behaves a certain way, and when we pass on this lie to others, we allow prejudices, stereotypes, and falsehoods about these demographics to spread and become reinforced.
It's hard because humans categorize things as a useful tool, like we need to in order to stay safe. We categorize things. We use our past experiences to put people in boxes. And when you meet someone, you're white, you're a woman. What's your job? I'm starting to place who you are as a person by using my past experience and by using categorization. And so it's a natural thing for us to do to start to put people in boxes. So I think it's hard because some of this comes so naturally to us, and in some ways is there to keep us safe. Yep. So
tribalism.
Yeah. So it's hard to break some of those habits sometimes. And if you think you're probably misogynistic, like by living in a misogynistic system, you probably are misogynistic and need to actively, unless you've done a lot of active work, to break yourself of it.
Yep. Number 3, you act disgusted at the mention of vaginas.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Grow up.
Yeah.
Like performative disgust is a thing that I'm sure I talked about in the Gold Star Gay episode. I know I talk about it in the book. I really think that it's probably performative.
Yeah.
Like if you curl your face up like you just ate a lemon because somebody said the word vagina, that is just you playing out a script.
Yeah. Which I definitely did. I think part of being gay, when I started out being gay, was trying to live by others' expectations of me. And that is an expectation, is that we don't like vaginas. And so I definitely performed that.
Yeah. And again, I feel like a broken record on this one. I'm not telling you to be into vaginas. That's fine.
Right.
If vaginas aren't for you, vaginas aren't for you. That's okay. Great. It's the need to like make the big dramatic full body noise face thing. That's like, it's totally unnecessary.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Number 4, you frequently parrot sexist lies about women. women are emotional, women are flighty, women travel in packs, women are weak, women cry easily, women are soft, women are dishonest. Tough, strong women are bitches. Women who have lots of sex are sluts. Like, these are all lies. We've been told these lies repeatedly by a patriarchal society that still oppresses women by repeating and reinforcing these lies every day. If you parrot these lies, you've been duped by a system and taught misogyny, and it's time to break out of it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of these times these don't show up as like, oh, I'm going to directly say that women are emotional, but I think it shows up a little bit more subtly in, you know, a conversation about someone at work, like an explanation for behavior or the way you view, like the lens that you view their behavior. I think it's a little bit more subtle than just outright saying like women are emotional.
Yep, absolutely. It's also hard, I think, because there's a slightly subtle version that I want to work on of, like, if I want to have an academic discussion about, like, are women more emotional, or women tend to be more emotional, and how does that impact what's going on in the universe and whatever it is that we're breaking down, I kind of want to think about whether that's true or not, if it's useful, and whether that's actually perpetuating stereotypes by including that. I'm not sure. I don't know. You did it at the top of the show even, right? Like talking about how like gay men have sort of a right to be, not a right to be, but permission to act more emotionally because they're already breaking out of the social norms or whatever.
Yeah.
Written into that is the implication that men are unemotional.
Yeah.
And the corollary to that is that women are emotional, right? So it's, I don't know. Like, on the one hand, I think it's a useful conversation to have. And on the other, I wonder about the responsibility of it. It's interesting.
I mean, that's our entire show, is like the responsibility of, when we talk about things, are we perpetuating them, or are we, and hopefully we're doing it in a way that criticizes or addresses those or has conversations about real life phenomena.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
This isn't the last episode. I promise.
Okay.
Number 5, you freely call women bitches, thinking it's fine to do so because you're gay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I've definitely heard like someone walk up to a group of girlfriends and say, "What's up, bitches?" Like, and I've heard gay men do that to a group of their female friends.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
You use the word bitch.
I do use the word bitch. But maybe I should stop. I don't know. I use the word bitch to talk to my male friends. I don't know. Should we not say that word at all?
I try not to.
Really?
Yeah, I try not to like use words like bitch and pussy. Though, like, intentionally, like words that are used to. I'll slip. I've used it and then felt bad about it. But yeah, words that are traditionally used to put women down are words I try to avoid using. So I just call people assholes now.
Okay. I can try. I call myself a bitch a lot. Especially at
like
work.
In your head?
Especially at work for some reason. I'll be like, "I'll stop. I'm sorry. I'm being a bitch."
Yeah.
Like, maybe I should stop doing that. Similarly, cunt is not a word that we should use.
Yeah.
Some people have feelings about the reclamation of words, though, like faggots or queers or homos. Those are all things that, like, there's power in reclaiming them, but also maybe just let them go. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, queer, that ship has sailed, but that word is being used. Why is homo the most offensive out of all of those? Don't call me a homo. Ugh.
Let's see. Next, you think promiscuity is a basic part of gay male culture, but a promiscuous woman is a slut. And I don't know. Yeah,
men get rewarded for their sexual conquest. Well, and like we just whenever you're watching porn, it's always like slut takes it. Like the bottom is always described as like, you know, gangbang whore. Like we use the same language that people use for women for the bottoms. I see it all the time in porn.
Although I do think of a man whore as being a top. That's
well, because
it has the word man in there, like that makes it mask. That's bad.
Yeah. When is the last time you heard the word man whore?
maybe it's just the sites I frequent. I don't
Oh.
know, Kyle. Number 7, you use feminine pronouns in a derogatory way, particularly when making fun of other gay men.
Oh.
When a fellow homo gets too drunk at the bar and gets horny or touchy or does something embarrassing, you say, girl's tanked, or she's thirsty, or she needs a dick.
Oh,
bad.
a lot of people do that.
Yeah. This person says, not cool. Sure, I call fellow homos girl sometimes, particularly at the gay gym when macho egos? Macho? I'm assuming that's macho and a typo. When macho egos are flaring. I also kiss queer male friends on the cheek when I meet them. Calling other gay men girl or girlfriend comes from a long-held tradition that goes as far back as Harry Hay and the Gay Liberation Front. But I avoid using feminine nouns or pronouns in such a way that the usage is itself an act of mockery.
I haven't thought about that. I'll start noticing that now. I'm guessing more and more because I think people do that a lot. When you're being a little cheeky, you use female pronouns for someone.
Yeah. She's fussy.
Yeah.
Like that's I'll do that sometimes. But then also I definitely will be like, hey girl, what's up? Or hey girl, hey.
Yeah.
Like and I don't know. I think that's probably fine.
I think that's fine.
Is it fine? Is that ultimately rooted in misogyny because the gays are more feminine and that's I don't know. Anyway. 8.
Moving on.
We're never going to get through this. You believe queer spaces exist primarily for gay men.
Oh, I think bars have been doing better at being more welcoming to all LGBT people, especially of late. Maybe it's Seattle bars, but
I think that there are a lot of bars, a lot of queer spaces that are overtly sexual, and that's where I get like worried or confused. I think that 95% of bars that are for gays should be queer spaces that are safe for everybody under the LGBT umbrella.
yeah.
I do think that maybe the Eagle is just.
I was going to say the
just
Eagle
for the gays.
Yeah,
Like,
I do think leave gay men for leave the Eagle for gay men. I think, or like Folsom, like that's I think just for gay men.
Part of this one, the last sentence: if you're perturbed at the number of queer women at your next Pride parade, you're a gay misogynist. Number 9. You think trans guys are cool, but trans women not so much.
Oh, interesting.
Everydayfeminism.com defines trans misogyny as the confluence of the negative attitudes expressed through cultural hate, individual and state violence, and discrimination directed toward trans women and trans and gender nonconforming people on the feminine end of the gender spectrum. And many trans men have described the experience of their transition to their authentic selves and how patriarchal culture suddenly favors them. They transitioned from a world of not so microaggressions against women to clear, blatant male privilege.
That's so interesting to be able to have the experience on both sides, to experience life presenting female and then male.
Yep.
And know what, and be able to feel like those are the opinions we should value the most because they know how society treats both genders.
Yep, absolutely. And I do think that, like, I don't know, this is tricky, maybe. I don't know. But, like, I don't think I have any trans women in my, like, life socially. Few lesbians, few non-binary people, few trans men. Not a lot of trans women.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Sarah counts.
I mean, and if she were here, I think we would hang out.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't want to assume a problem unless there is one, maybe. Number 10, you're a self-identified gay bro.
Oh, man, but I'm into them. Should I not be in? Probably shouldn't be into gay bros. Subreddit gay bros is highly problematic.
I've met so many gay bros who hate women, hate femininity, and don't want anything to do with guys who act gay. And when they say this, they mean act feminine.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
It's true.
Yeah.
Number 11, you have certain ideas about how feminine women should be. You want women to act like women and have certain idea about what that means. You want men to act like men. You practically ignore the third gender and genderqueer people. Number 12, you have a certain idea about how feminine drag queens should be.
That's interesting.
There's a lot of folks who are like super anti glitterbeard drag queens.
Oh.
As being like, that's too mask, or like ruins it somehow.
Don't gatekeep drag queens, because it's an art that you're performing as some kind of different version of yourself, and I think it's really interesting to see all the iterations and see how people interpret that, and see someone have a beard when they're a queen is just like such an interesting combination of looks. I think it's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think, mask gay culture that has a tenuous relationship with drag. And so much of it is like buying into the binary, and they're playing with that. And I think that's indicative of something.
Yeah.
Let's see. The next one, you have certain ideas about how all men, gay, bi, and straight, should behave. I've heard gay guys say that their masculinity needs defending because it's the way things are, the right way, the correct way for men, gay or straight, to behave. My first criticism to them is always this: if male-identified humans were supposed to be masculine, if this behavior is reliably natural and native, with no exceptions, why would it need reinforcement?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about so many gender norms is like, if it needs this much defending, how natural can it really be?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the last one, you're anti-abortion.
Oh.
Basically saying, I think correctly, regardless of gender, regardless of sexual orientation, if you are pro-life, you're a misogynist.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, because you believe that you're allowed to assert dominance and control over a woman's body that is inherently misogynistic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's true.
That makes
Anyway,
sense.
those are 15 signs that you're a gay misogynist.
Oh, I think there's some ones to think about. Like the one that really stands out to me is using she her pronouns for someone when you're referring to like them being drunk or them being slutty. Like that's one that I think happens a lot.
Yeah. Am I going to stop? Don't know. We'll see.
You got to catch yourself first. That's a hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do? We're so...
Well, I have another article that is signs that you're dating a misogynist if you're a straight girl. And we're going to talk about that in the Patreon segment.
Okay.
But I know you have a thing about incels.
Yeah.
But we talked about drag a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's just maybe like put a capstone on that. Is drag misogyny?
My instinct, my first reaction is no, because I want to defend drag queens. Like that's so. I guess if we think about it a little bit more, what would be the misogynistic part? The characterization of women.
This that drag started as female impersonation and became a caricature of femininity that is not complimentary in its garishness or ridiculousness.
Oh,
and that modern drag has reached this phase where I think it likes to think of itself as not actually directly trying to be women, not trying to be real femininity, but some other thing that is just adjacent. But the roots of it, I don't know.
but is it really trying to critique women? Is it insulting women? Is that's the intent? I think we put drag queens on a pedestal. We like value them and they like have a special status within the gay community.
Well, that's true. But I think the idea is that what they are performing makes women the butt of the joke.
Is it? I don't know if I buy into that. I don't know if it's making women the butt of the joke. I don't think. Well, I guess I could see some jokes being like, I feel like if I saw a routine where someone was making their femininity or whatever the joke, I would be like, that's kind of old hat. Like that's kind of been done probably, and we need some more. They probably need some more original content. So I guess maybe some drag queens might make, like, I could see them being like, oh, my boobs are all in the way, or I don't know.
Yeah. It's tricky. I don't know.
Do you think drag is misogynistic?
I think some of it is, absolutely.
Huh.
And I think that some of it is not. And I think that knowing the difference is hard. And it's hard for me to know the difference. And I definitely find funny and laugh at things that if I peel them back are probably not okay.
I feel like we're going to get pushback on we're not the RuPaul's Drag Race gays, but there are some people that are and would like have a big problem believing that even parts of drag queens are misogynistic. Like,
I mean, I don't know.
You're not worried about
I'm not worried about
people getting angry about that?
No, I mean, don't like get angry if you want to, but maybe do some self-reflection on like, why are you so mad?
Yeah.
I'm not saying definitively that like all drag is misogynistic. But I think that if we're honest and look at it, we'll say that some of it is. And yeah, I don't know. You can be mad if you want to, I guess. But
Are drag kings what's the word?
misandrony? Misandronistic? I guess it would be misandronistic.
Okay.
In
the same way that drag queens would be.
I mean, not in the same way, right? This is the whole thing about like, well, black people are racist too. Fuck you.
Yeah.
When we're talking about like institutionalized racism and like, men are fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Men are doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. I'm going to tell you about incels.
Great. Talking about men who are not fine.
A troubled group, the incels. Incel is involuntary celibate. They are mostly an online community of men who can't.
Community is a strong word.
They've found each other. They're on forums together. They're sharing subreddits. They believe they can't get into heterosexual relationships. They have a common belief that women pick partners based only on looks due to their unattractiveness will be alone forever.
Well, I mean, if you're unattractive on the inside.
I know. Ironically, being an incel might make it so you can't find a woman, but that's because you are now part of this horrible community of people who because of this perception themselves, they hate women and believe that men are systematically discriminated against.
Sure.
There are, it says here, a large network of male-oriented websites dedicated to cyber hate of women, discrimination, and networking of misogyny. And women of color are doubly denigrated by sexism and racism. Incels endorse and participate in sexism, racism, and violence. And this manifests in real life. So the 2014 Isla Vista massacre happened because an incel named Elliot Roger I'm going to describe this massacre. In May 23rd, 2014, he first ambushed and stabbed to death his two roommates and their friend, killing them separately. He drove to a sorority house, and after failing to get in, he shot 3 women walking near the sorority house, 2 of whom died. He drove past a deli and shot and killed a man inside. He drove around Isla Vista, shooting and wounding several pedestrians from his car and striking others with his car. He exchanged gunfire with police twice, and after his car crashed into a parked vehicle, he was found dead inside with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Before doing all this, before going to the sorority house, he uploaded a video to YouTube saying he wanted to punish women for rejecting him. And he wanted to punish sexually active men because he envied them. He emailed a manifesto to people, which included his frustration over his inability to find a girlfriend, his hatred for women, his contempt for couples, and his plans for retribution.
Oh, God.
And this is apparently a staple in the incel community's discussion. Roger did self-identify as an incel, And incels have posted tribute songs to him,
Oh, God.
distributed shirts with his image. They refer to him as a saint or a hero. They celebrate Saint Elliot Day.
Oh, God.
Isn't this gross? On the anniversary of his attacks, they refer to him as ER, and his killings have inspired other similar crimes. People often use him as a cited source of like influence on their crimes, calling other attacks, referring to them as going ER.
Ew.
Yeah. So I think misogyny has really, online communities, and interestingly enough, like Urban Dictionary and other sites, have contributed to misogyny and incel culture, and that leads to very real violence against women. I gave an extreme example, but violence against women, domestic violence, is just one way that we see the manifestation of the hatred of women in physical form.
Well, and the whole institution is built around this idea that like women owe you anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and it's an excuse for why you're alone. It's an excuse. It's like not being able to deal with your own emotions and reflect on why you're feeling that way and trying to find someone else to blame for being alone and sad.
mm-hmm.
I'm alone and sad, and I don't hurt any women. Should I become an incel?
Well, okay. Not to put too fine a point on it, but is that like why you hate insta-gays? Like, is it?
Oh yeah, because they're hot and I'm jealous for sure.
I mean, isn't that the gay version of being an incel in a way? Like,
maybe. But they're also ripe for comedy. They're like dumb and goofy and like post idiotic things that I think merit making fun of.
Yeah, for sure.
Stupid insta-gays.
I'm with you.
I think as gay men, we are still part of a system that treats women in a different way, and we hopefully can take our learnings from being a discriminated group and try to understand and sympathize, but we'll never totally understand what that feels like, and we don't get a pass on them just because we're gay. And so we need to just like work on anti-racism, we need to work on anti-misogyny, becoming anti-misogynists.
Okay. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Even if I fuck it up all the time.
Yeah. Same.
Is misogyny gay?
No, it's an inherently straight concept in spite of everything I just said. I don't know.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we do it?
We talked about it for a little bit.
This is a long episode.
It was a long ass episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess there's plenty to say.
There's probably plenty more.
Probably plenty more. I guess, yeah. Send in the hate mail, everybody.
Is the gay community misogynistic?
Yes.
Okay. That was easy. You think it is inherently misogynistic? Or not inherently, but...
Not inherently, but I think that there's a lot of things that we should think about.
Yeah.
And I would like to be different if I had the power to make them different.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the gay community, like I said, doesn't get a pass. Like, we are part of the system that is misogynistic, and we don't get to pretend like we're not part of it. Yep. We are still part of the society that is inherently misogynistic.
Yep.
Based on how it's set up. So yeah. I think we did stuff.
Well, do you want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break
and beat some bitches.
Oh Jesus. break.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
Are we back?
We're back.
We're back.
We're going to do our gayest and straightest.
We're going to do our gayest and straightest, but first, local gay bar review.
Ooh.
I didn't do one last week because I didn't think I could sing the theme song.
Because you were sick?
Because I was sick.
Yeah.
This time I'm going to talk to you about the Unicorn in Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
we have a bar in Seattle called the Unicorn, which I don't know if I've done many local gay bar reviews of Seattle bars.
Oh, you have so much content ahead of you.
So much. Okay, so I actually didn't have plans to go to the Unicorn. I just happened to walk by it. It is in Salam 4, which is the big alleyway that I was talking about that had like a shitload of bars, gay bars down it. But they were showing the swimsuit portion of the Mr. Thailand competition on the TV screens, and I happened to see it, so I was like, okay.
Drew you in?
I went in. The hot boys on the TV made me go there.
You had no control over this.
I thought it was adorable. It was it's a small place, or at least the downstairs was. It was only 7 p.m. and was dead, but I really loved it. I had a great conversation with the bartender, and it's just kind of an adorable like tiki vibe to it. I said I need to take a tour before I decide, since there's karaoke here supposedly, and I'm just at the bar. But there's an upstairs, and the bartender says that that's not open. And I'm not sure if that means ever, yet, or to me, because English. But yeah, 3 dildos.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
Okay. What?
Buy our book.
Buy our book, you assholes.
Friends. Countrymen.
We wrote a book. You can find out about it.
You can go to gayishpodcast.com/book and you can pre-order it. It comes out in like a month, a little over a month. It'll be available. So go buy it now as an early Christmas present to yourself.
Yeah, do it.
Please.
The book drops on January the 21st, which is a Tuesday. And to celebrate, we're going to do a live stream.
Yeah.
So if you are around and available and want to support us, you should do that evening.
Yeah.
We think we're going to be streaming at 7 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday the 21st. So join us for that. You can do the chat, and we'll respond to questions live on the air. We should have books in hand, so we can all enjoy that together.
Yeah, that'll be cool to actually like have a book that we can show everyone.
Yeah.
Join us then.
And I'll post the details on our website. No, I won't. I
don't think you will.
I was struggling for a segue. Our website is gayishpodcast.com.
We are on social media at Gayish Podcast.
Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails. Please leave us voicemails. We need more voicemails.
We do need voicemails.
Of Gayests and Straightests.
Yeah.
And somebody butt dialed us, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, why is our number right there for you to butt dial?
It's 5855-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rates apply. And that's a complicated number for your butt.
It is a uniquely skilled butt. Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
And our physical mailing address is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington, 98109.
Time for Gayest and Straightest?
That's okay.
Okay, I'll go.
Do it, Kyle.
My gayest is someone started singing Rent and was like, wait, how many minutes are there in here? And knowing the answer automatically is my gayest.
Oh my God. Every gay person in the history of gay people now is going to know.
Yep.
So great.
And then my straightest is there was some sports game playing on the lift that I got in. Mm-hmm. I don't know what game it was. I didn't listen close enough to pay attention. But the fact that I had to overhear sports.
Oh, yeah. You were subjected to sports?
Yeah. I and clearly am not assertive enough to ask someone to change the station. So I just had to listen to it.
Yep. Take it.
Yep, I took it. What about you?
Well, the gayest thing about me this week is moved to a new neighborhood, so I have a new grocery store and a new set of people from Grindr to run into in real life.
Oh, good.
For the first time. And I ran into a dude from Grindr at QFC. He was not as hot in person.
Oh.
Which, Grindr.
Good pictures.
That's how Grindr works, right? The straightest thing about me this week, we had some extra potatoes left over from the Christmas dinner that I hosted for our D&D group on Friday, and I took them out to the front yard and I threw them across the street vigorously.
Why?
I don't know, but just to get rid of them,
okay.
I guess. I didn't want to throw them away anyway.
They're compostable.
But potato throwing. That's a street thing.
Interesting. Sure. We have a voicemail.
We have a listener's Gayest and Straightest from Jacob in Cleveland.
Yep.
Hey, Gayish, it's Jacob from Cleveland, and boy, do I have a Gayest and Straightest for you. So, my straightest is that I went out to some gay bars and did not drink, so I was completely sober. Got hit on by a guy who invited me over, who was very drunk. I said, sure, not planning on staying, but just to take him home because he was going to drive. He did not know where he lived, apparently, so he suggested we go to the bathhouse and sleep it off there. I said, okay. So we went there. He promptly fell asleep. I said, well, I'm here, might as well go around. And this is now my gayest. So I ended up seeing a friend, and we were friendly. And then went to go check on the guy, and he was still asleep. Went back to hang out with his friend. Then went back to the guy this morning, and he was gone, and my car keys were gone. So I had to file a police report at a bathhouse about my car being stolen. Luckily, I knew the guy's information, got the police report all filled out, all that jazz. And as I was walking to go see if his car that he had left was still there, the cop who took my report pulled up and said, yeah, your car's still there. So this dude literally stole my car to go get his car and left my car just sitting on, like, parked on the side of the road, unlocked, with my keys in it, in a not amazing area of Cleveland. Left me no message, said nothing, left no note or indication that this was going to be a thing, and also left my car reeking of booze. So what I've learned is apparently don't give drunk strangers rides to bathhouses. And if you do, keep your keys on you at all times. So anyway, I thought really fun morning at 7 a.m. after being up all night. Anyway, love you guys. Bye.
That was a journey.
That was a harrowing tale. That could be a movie, I think. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's real shitty.
Yeah. It sounds like you got it back, though.
Sounds like you have your car.
Everything's great.
Which is good.
So no harm, no foul?
I mean, a little harm.
Okay.
A little foul. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for the voicemail.
Thanks for the voicemail. Please send in yours, everybody. We are running out.
Yeah.
And we like them.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
Thank you to all the Nope.
Nope.
Thank you, people working on not being misogynist.
Yeah. Thanks for your working on yourself.
Yeah.
You.
Which everyone should be doing.
Yes.
And thank you to our super gap producers. Thank you to Locomotive, Simon Sarashi, Kaylee Adams, Kid Oliver, Kobe Gordon, Squoggle, Pip, Andrew Bugby, William Bryant, John Crowley, Yost Osel, Jonathan Montanius, Forrest Nail, Steve Douglas, Explosive Lasagna, Michael Covington, Just Jamie, Thomas B, Dusty Sands, A. Coleman, Chris Cacciatorians, and Jerome York. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your money. That's it. This has been Gayish from the Chris Cacciatorian Studios. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you. See ya.
See you next week. Bitch. Oh no, Kyle.
What has happened? Wow. There's a build up to that. There's a wind up.
I still have like some, I don't know, flu-like symptoms.
Oh.
My GI is upset.
I'm sorry.
But I'm on the mend. I'm way better than last week. Okay. I thought I was going to die last week, by the way. Everybody.
You didn't. You made it.
Crisis averted.